Hi everyone, this is Rust. Today we'll take a deep dive into the lore of every canon game in the Dead Island franchise with proper timelines. And instead of retelling every cutscene and mission, we'll focus on the most important events and support them with data from in-game literature such as notes, collectibles, secret files, and recordings. We'll also include additional information from external sources like the fandom wiki, but only when necessary. This approach will make it easier to understand the lore. I want to warn you that English is not my native language, so my speech may be slow and my grammar and pronunciation might not be perfect. However, I hope that my simple vocabulary will allow me to use simple words and make this recap easier to understand. Closed captions are available, so feel free to turn them on. Synopsis. Reed found that our current human body is not fully ours yet. In fact, there are two different directions indicated by the newly found mysterious clock called Autophage, which is ticking down. When its count reaches 0, we will be forcefully chosen to one of two sides. These sides are: one side represents our true personality, with pros that highlight our personality and specialty, granting us independence and control over ourselves. We recognize this side as Numen. The other side represents our false personality, still with pros that highlight our personality and specialty, as that is how the Autophage works. However, this side takes over control of our body, aka zombies, with the ultimate goal of destruction. We recognize this as the Dirge. According to Konrad's AI analysis, the Autophage clock is projected to reach 0 by the year 2160. This poses a significant and urgent issue for scientists, as that date is alarmingly close. Reed fears that a solution might not be found in time. However, he discovered a trigger, HKEA, that could accelerate the countdown, allowing him to perform tests and research aimed at developing a cure. He initially tested HKEA in secret with Narapella, which led to the creation of a virus known as pathogen HK. He then attempted to use it on Banoi to develop a vaccine, but was unsuccessful. Instead, he identified a patient 0, Yurama, who could potentially be the key to a cure. Reed proceeded to Palanai but faced another setback, as his efforts only intensified the HK virus dangers without yielding a viable cure, especially after losing track of Yurama. Despite the challenges and the lack of access to Banoi and the Kuru tribes that possess the original HK pathogen, he remains determined to conduct further tests. His most promising option is to modify his unborn child, Tisha, to create a new version of Yurama. Same goes for Konradt. Instead of HKEA, she found another trigger, Orgonite. She conducted private tests with HAUS, leading to the creation of the Orgon Ball and an Orgon satellite named the Ark of Ascension. During this process, she realized she was experiencing a facet of Autophage known as the Numen. Konradt discovered that the Orgon Ball enabled her to hear something. Ultimately, she determined that this represented a novel form of communication akin to telepathy, allowing her to connect with others. This might explain how she attracted companions like Thurston and Cadenza. Reed later assessed the scale of the Autophage side, covering that only 1 in a million transitions to the Numen side. This revelation led him to conclude that pathogen HK merely causes the Autophage to activate prematurely. Consequently, he modified the virus to identify the genuine Numens rather than those who are only prematurely immune. With Rites' insight into the Numen scale, Konradt formulated a strategy to broaden her search. She recognized that relying solely on the HAUS scale would be insufficient for locating additional Numens. Reed and Konradt planned to embark on another significant research project, but this time they chose a public setting instead of a private one. Reed uses the entire Los Angeles with the help of his modified daughter Tisha as a replacement for Rierma, while Konradt uses a large festival utilizing an amplified organ ball to assist her. Both are focused on locating the Numens as swiftly as possible, but this marks the moment they go their separate ways. Reed's goal is to gather as many Numens as he can to either create a cure or revert Autophage clock to former human self. In contrast, Konradt aims to gather the Numens to unite them, as she does not wish for the Autophage to be cured or return to their previous state. Reed believes that humanity must remain true to itself, fearing that a large-scale conflict between Numen and Dirge could lead to human extinction. In contrast, Konradt advocates for embracing transformation, viewing the evolution into Numens as the next phase of human development. She argues that by coming together, Numen can effectively combat the Dirge. However, both face significant challenges. Reed's biomass in the sewers is inadvertently coalescing into a Dirge, while Konrad's biomass on the SoLA main stage is also forming a Dirge. The key difference lies in the nature of these formations. The sewer's Dirge is fragmented, composed of various individuals with differing thoughts, whereas smaller-scale Dirge in SoLA is unified in intention and emotion, leading to a more cohesive entity. Failures aside, they succeeded in reaching their objective. Reed developed a cure, or more accurately, a neutralizer, aligning with his vision of remaining human. Meanwhile, Konradt accepted the Autophage transformation. She recognizes that Numen possess specific frequencies that facilitate communication, and with SoLA, she can now confirm that if Numen's telepathic link is sufficiently strong, aided by Cadenza's massive amplifier, they could even connect across different time periods. Additionally, with the Dirge ultimate form at SoLA, Konradt realizes that not only do Numen have telepathic frequencies, but the Autophage counterpart, Dirge, can also communicate and unify. Although zombies lack proper speech, the Dirge reveals that they function as a singular entity with the intent to eradicate humanity. This further supports Reed's discovery regarding the Dirge, which ultimately aims for destruction. TLDR, Autophage can turn humans into either Numens or zombies, while united or melted zombies can form the Dirge. Basically, it's about you versus the zombies, as simple as that. Who's gonna win? Segment 1. Eschaton and Konradt Realities. In the late 90s, Dr. Ruben Reed examined both contemporary human genomes and those of ancient human relatives such as Neanderthals and Denisovans. He discovered a surprising truth. Human DNA contains a ticking clock that is counting down. Aware of how crucial this finding is, Ruben founded Eschaton. The word itself literally is a noun, theological, the end of the world, the end time, the final event in the divine plan, from the Greek root meaning last. The purpose of Eschaton is to research this mysterious clock and carry out their more dubious operations by employing a by any and all means necessary mindset. To achieve this, Eschaton needs to conduct covert and paramilitary operations similar to real-world CIA divisions like SAD. If you have ever heard the terms insider, double agent, or triple agents, etc., it means that this organization has secret members who also work in multiple government organizations and other authorities across the globe. For example, Ruben himself is a CDC operative while also being an Eschaton agent. Not only aiming for the government or public organizations, as long as they can be used to help the purpose of researching the zero clock state, Eschaton can and will work with them. In this case, Ruben cannot ignore the infamous tech company as big as Konradt Realities, which is respectfully known as the innovator of biotechnology. It has been proven effective and revolutionary, as Lola first introduced herself as the first human to be implanted with BrinK implants. With these implants, she demonstrates how she can command tasks as simple as turning on lights or opening doors by only thinking about it. But of course, it is only for public consumption, as in the background, these devices work further than just turning on a lamp switch. After being asked to collaborate, Lola found this zero clock state somewhat aligned with her purpose because she is also developing biotechnology. Moreover, if humans were actually on the brink of extinction, as Ruben showed, she also needs to act fast because her biotechnology project will be useless if humans simply go extinct. She also has her AI Konstantin that can help support Ruben's research if he allows the AI to access his proven database. In 2001, Konrad's AI actually helps conducting the research faster and more accurate results. The results discusses a complex concept related to the human genome, emphasizing that the underlying clock is not defined by a specific set of genes. Instead, it operates on a meta level, representing a subtle signal amidst genetic variability. Key insights include the fundamental role of this clock in the human genome, indicating that it cannot be removed without consequences. Additionally, the clocks tick are not uniform, they vary over decades among different populations. Finally, projections indicate that certain populations may reach a critical point referred to as zero clock state around the year 2160 with a possible error margin of plus or minus 12 years. This timing coincides with the onset of the age of Aquarius. After that, Ruben emphasized the urgent need to understand the implication of this zero clock state for humanity before it manifests naturally in the global population. Ruben and Lola make a great duo for researching the zero clock state, with Ruben's clinical expertise and Lola's technological expertise. They work together so often, day by day, that Tisha has grown up calling Lola auntie because of how familiar she is with her father.
So, get this. I'm sightseeing in Brentwood sewers when this lady, bare feet, calm as you like, tries to kill me. Not 5 minutes ago, I walk in on her and your dad chatting like an old couple.
Auntie Lola? Why would she be here?
That's her. She acts like this is all just another day at the office.
That's pretty crazy, even for her.
She knows more than she's saying.
Segment 2. Geoparm and Karen. During their research, Ruben discovers that Hewitt-Kahn enzyme accelerator HKEA can jumpstart the zero clock state, but Lola also finds the element orgonite, which can also jumpstart it with the right tuning. Orgonite material is a term that refers to a substance believed to harness and accumulate a form of universal life energy, often called orgone. This concept was developed by the psychoanalyst Wilhelm Reich in the early 20th century, who posited that orgone energy could influence both physical and emotional well-being, aligns with Konrad's AI research on the zero clock state in 2001. The material itself is typically composed of a mixture of organic and inorganic substances such as resin, metal shavings, and crystals, which are layered together to create a device that purportedly attracts and stores this energy. The use of organ material has gained popularity among various alternative health practitioners and enthusiasts who claim that it can help to mitigate negative energy, improve mood, and promote overall health. Devices made from organ material, such as orgonite pyramids or pendants, are often placed in living spaces or worn as jewelry. Proponents assert that these items can help to balance energy fields, reduce stress, and even enhance the growth of plants when placed in gardens. Despite its popularity in certain circles, organ material and the claims surrounding it remain controversial and are often met with skepticism from the scientific community. Critics argue that there is insufficient empirical evidence to support the existence of organ energy or the efficacy of organ devices. Nonetheless, many individuals continue to explore and utilize organ material in their personal practices, finding value in the experiences and benefits they attribute to its use. Ruben goes to Narapella with HKEA for testing, while Lola goes with HAUS and the organ field. The initial case observed regarding HKEA was with the Kuru disease in Papua New Guinea, a neurological condition prevalent among local tribes due to the practice of cannibalism. Throughout the narrative, Kuru has been emphasized as a prion disease linked to an actual geographical location and its associated real-world brain-altering fatal illness. It is distinct from a virus characterized by misfolded proteins catalyzing the misfolding of other proteins, resulting in clumping and cell function disruption, especially in neurons of the central nervous system, affecting behavior. Prions have no genetic material and cannot combine with viruses due to their inability to mutate, but instead cause proteins to misfold similarly, propagating the misconfiguration process. Kuru is a form of Redfield-Jacob disease (CJD), transmitted not through bites like zombies but requiring ingestion of infected brain or spinal cord tissue, similar to the method of transmission in mad cow disease. To rationalize the zombie bite transmission concept, a blend of stage 2 Kuru and stage 2 HIV strains that can be transmitted through blood, not just by consuming brains, was proposed. The consortium were the masterminds behind this idea, an organization comprising various secretive global conspiracy groups with connections to governments, law enforcement, and covert agents within public global organizations. The consortium, led by Eschaton, aimed to facilitate Rites zero clock state research after Dr. Chase Barrister, Karen's father and GeoParm's co-founder, discovered the Hewitt-Kahn enzyme accelerator HKA capability of indirectly speeding up the zero clock state. However, as one of the associates of the consortium, Palm Garden Order had a different perspective on the cure development project. Representing Reed, Eschaton was determined to study the zero clock state trigger HKA and Kuru through any means necessary in order to create a cure and save humanity. However, Palm Garden Order had a profit-driven motive and intended to weaponize the HKA as a bioweapon by any means necessary. Unfortunately, even the consortium seemed to lean towards agreeing the Palm Garden Order, which meant they were considering the weaponization idea while still pursuing Eschaton's original vision of finding a cure. These selfish alternate visions drove both the consortium and Palm Garden Order to extreme measures, leading them to forcefully take over GeoParm and engage in cruel practices and further their corrupt agenda by manipulating its corrupt CEO's son, Emory Crown, and eventually takes over Geoparm as a whole. Long story short, Narapella's island destruction results in the creation of the base pathogen HK virus from mutating the initial HKEA while also finding a possible immunity. The O-negative blood is the initial requirement for the immune individuals. Without further ado, Ruben mobilizes the consortium, Palm Garden Order, and Geoparm to begin researching the HK virus as a method of jump-starting the zero clock state, albeit within a relatively small population and under somewhat controlled circumstances, in this case another island in the archipelago, Banoi, as a means to ultimately discover the mutagen and a cure. To make these massive plans work, they choose to work with the best individuals they could find, despite being aware of the potential human life sacrifices they might cause. One of the best individuals is Karen. Who is he exactly? Kevin Barrister, a native of San Francisco, California, had the privilege of growing up in a family deeply rooted in science. His father, Dr. Chase Barrister, was a brilliant scientist who caught the attention of his close friend Ronald Crown. Together, they embark on a mission to establish a groundbreaking pharmaceutical company called Geoparm with the noble intention of finding cures for various diseases. Ronald, driven by his belief that this was a necessary evil to achieve their ultimate goal, relocated from San Francisco to the captivating Banoi archipelago. It was there they set up multiple laboratories, including one on the enchanting island of Narapella. In order to fully immerse themselves in their research, Chase and Ronald also created living spaces for the scientists and their families, including Kevin, who was still a young child at the time. This unique environment allowed them to dedicate their lives to the pursuit of scientific breakthroughs. This laboratory was constructed just off the coast and quickly began yielding results. Chase stumbled upon a significant breakthrough known as the Habit-Con Enzyme Accelerator, or HKEA, which Ronald believes will have a profound impact on the world. Originally designed to combat Kuru, HKEA is a virus that can be programmed to produce specific proteins. Initially, they tested it on anemones infected with Kuru, which showed promising results but fell short. Despite the setbacks, Chase persisted in experimenting with HKEA and discovered that it caused significant risk, causing cancerous growth in the repaired tissue. As they continued their tests, Emory Crown, Ronald's son, became aware of the enzyme and grew increasingly intrigued by it. However, shortly after Emory's discovery, he began gravitating towards individuals associated with the Palm Garden Order, a faction within a larger society called Consortia. Due to Ronald's distrust of these individuals, he made every effort to keep HKEA out of their reach. Ronald was taken aback by the unexpected action of an unauthorized researcher from the Palm Garden Order who conducted a fatal life test using HKEA. He was appalled by the outcome and immediately called for an end to the testing and development of HKEA, feeling it was not aligned with his original vision for the company. Emory, on the other hand, was not pleased with Ronald's reaction and resorted to violent measures by sending thugs to assault and abduct his own father, confining him within the facility. Faced with this dire situation, Ronald made preparation to flee and originally warned Chase to leave as well, as their lives, including that of Chase's young son Kevin, were now at risk due to Emory's actions. In a twist of events, Emory confronted Ronald and coerced him into signing over ownership of the company to him and the Palm Garden Order, a move that Ronald strongly opposed but felt powerless to resist. The situation had escalated beyond Ronald's control, leaving him in a precarious position with no easy way out. Chase has never had a chance to escape as suggested by Ronald, for Emory caught up with him before he could make a run for it. Emory then decided to set an example with Chase for both his followers and those associated with Palm Garden Order. Whatever fate befell Chase remains shrouded in mystery, but it is widely believed that he met a gruesome end, possibly being killed in a ritualistic manner or disappearing without a trace. The sinister organization didn't stop at Chase. They soon turned their attention towards Kevin's mother, viewing her as a potential liability that needed to be dealt with. Despite Kevin's managing to hide and shield her from harm, it came at a heavy price. According to Karen's logs, Kevin's mother suffered unspeakable mutilation, likely becoming a victim of the consortium's cruel experiments to silence her about their illicit dealings. Kevin's subsequent loss of both parents fueled his deep-seated animosity, and the sudden demise of Ronald due to the shock of his son's betrayal and the company structure paved the way for Emory to take the reins as the CEO of Geopharm and become the new figurehead of power within the company. The company's objectives and moral principles took a dramatic turn when they fell under the control of the consortium and Palm Garden Order, two secretive and influential organizations with a global reach. Their main aim was to exploit the corporation's resources for their own gain. The consortium in particular had a strong interest in conducting research on diseases and viruses with the intention of weaponizing them for sale to military entities worldwide, beating them billions of dollars. The development of vaccines was deliberately delayed until after the creation of biological weapons, as they couldn't be marketed without a viable vaccine in place. To combine matters, the consortium didn't hesitate to use animals and even humans as subjects for their experiments and studies. Although concrete evidence couldn't be presented to the public due to the consortium's extensive connection in government and law enforcement agencies, numerous rumors persisted. These rumors tarnished Geopharm's reputation, leading to the company's laboratories being targeted and attacked by animal rights activists and advocates for humanitarian causes. Chase's son, Kevin, develops an intense and deep-seated hatred towards Geopharm and the consortium, feeling them as a greedy monster who embodied the worst aspects of humanity. This hatred drove him to devise plans to infiltrate the organization and dismantle it from within, utilizing their own biological weapons against them. Given the consortium's global reach, Kevin knew that their downfall would plunge the world into utter chaos and destruction. Drawing from his father's teachings, Kevin utilized his exceptional hacking skills to position himself as a valuable asset to various terrorist groups across the globe, adopting the alias Karen. This name symbolized his mission to guide his father's killers to their afterlife as he perverted his immense intellect and knowledge to engage in criminal activities that capitalized on his technological expertise. As time passed, Kevin's notoriety grew, propelling him up the ranks of the criminal underworld until even terrorist organizations recognized his unique talents and enlisted him for their operations. Within these circles, he became widely known as Karen, his self-proclaimed title and alter ego, working for a range of terrorist organizations from Al-Qaeda to Yakuza. Eventually, the consortium unknowingly extended an offer to Kevin, unaware that he was the son of one of the Geopharm's founders. As Kevin predicted, the organization eventually decided to hire Karen due to his exceptional skills and the immense value he held for their plans. These plans involved surveilling and enticing the immune individuals to their researcher in order to develop a mutagen of the virus and a corresponding vaccine. In exchange for his assistance, they offered Karen substantial profit and freedom, to which he agreed. This led Karen to target the highest security system site for hacking, in this case, the prison island, which would aid in his surveillance task by intentionally allowing himself to be captured by Rider White. This strategic move not only granted him access to the prison island, but also provided an explanation for how the virus could infiltrate such a heavily quarantined area by simply imposing the third-party food supplier while simultaneously causing mayhem into prison by pitting the guards against the inmates or infecting them to gain entry to the control room. In an interview, Ryder failed to answer one of the questions properly, which led him to get reassigned to lead the isolation mission for the Banoi outbreak. One of the Australian Defence Force officers, who also appeared to be an associate of either the Palm Garden Order or the Consortium, was aware of how capable Rider White is in executing his duties. Rider will obey orders without hesitation by any means necessary. However, the associated soldier acknowledged that Ryder's weakness is his wife. And yes, based on the Banoi quarantine assignment interview, it was pretty clear that Ryder hesitated to let his wife get killed, let alone killing her. This led the associated soldier to reassign his wife, Emily White, as the chief medical officer on the prison island even 6 months before the outbreak occurred.
Interesting.
You think he won't push the button because of her.
He hesitated, which is why he was reassigned to Banoi.
So who is she?
His wife.
Can we get her to the island?
She's already there. She's been there 6 months now, and I believe she's the best chance we have to slow him down.
This position became the ultimate key for Karen, as he could use Emily as a bargaining chip and could now impersonate Ryder to gain control over military commands while also earning the trust of the immune individuals. Segment 3. Banoi.
Things that go bump in the night.
What the? Jesus!
Me. Sandy. Okay.
The Consortium has connections to the infamous hotel in Banoi, Royal Palms Resort, which often became a hub for criminal activities. The hotel was isolated, and the CEO, Kenneth Ballard, had connections to multiple government institutions, including the police and army. This allowed him to escape any consequences for any wrongdoing that occurred within the resort. The Consortium then devised a plan to attract a select group of individuals to the Banoi Island. They used their vast resources to scan global blood records and even organized a multinational blood drive under different banners and initiatives. This was done to deceive individuals like Logan, who was promoting the blood drive, and to expand their search for suitable candidates.
But I'm still a name. Oh yeah, I'm still a celebrity. That's why they wanted me to promote their blood drive here. That's why they fucking flew me first class halfway around the goddamn world. Cause my name still means something.
Once identified, these individuals were invited to the resort on the island through various means of communication. A total of 9 such individuals were ultimately found and selected, not only for their blood type but also because of their vigorously resistant immune systems and fitting the required demographic survival profile, namely being young, healthy, and physically fit, which increased the likelihood of them being able to fight against the infected and follow the breadcrumb trail that would be laid out by the Consortium and their agents to lead them to their labs. The selected immune were then lured to the island via invitation to the resort for a 2-week vacation, free of charge, claiming they were entered into a random drawing for the free vacation when they participated in the blood drive. Karen was commissioned to lure the immunes to Geopharm's secret lab to meet another consortium personnel inside Geopharm, Robert West. The intention is to extract their blood, test it with mutagen, and finally create a cure. You don't know yet about mutagen. In Dead Island, mutagen is basically a modified base virus but stronger, used to test the immune's immunity. The idea is, if the mutagen is tested on the immune and the immune still retains immunity, there is a need to create a stronger mutagen until the immune loses their immunity. This is to measure how the cure can be created and how far the dosage can be used. Karen's job was that simple, but he had personal, ulterior motives. Instead of commanding West to create a potent mutagen and the cure, he asked him to create only the strongest mutagen that West could create.
I have it, just as you asked for it. The effects should be powerful and immediate, but it'll only work on the healthy or those in the first stage.
A super virus derived from a mummy. I'll call it the Pharaoh's curse.
No, not from a mummy. From her. I examined her blood and found the pathogen in its pristine form. She's the source of the plague. A walking time bomb.
I don't know how or
Why or where it came from, but I want to study it. Maybe I can create some kind of vaccine.
No, West, your role is finished. Send them to me along with the virus and the girl.
you can have your virus.
But the girl stays with me. I need more of her blood. I know I can solve this. I know I can. I just need more time.
West?
Don't be afraid.
What are you doing?
I just
Need a little
West?
more blood. If we can make a vaccine, we can save your people, save the island.
No! No more blood!
I'll give you something to relax you. Open it. I won't hurt you. Open it. Open it!
I'll open it myself.
Hi, can you hear me? There's a problem in the laboratory. I'm hearing screams. Drop what you're doing and go. Go! God damn it, go! We could lose everything.
Were you talking to someone?
What do you mean?
Don't play games with me, Karen.
Calm down, Colonel. We have a deal, and I'll help you as promised. Just don't go all paranoid on me.
From there, the immunes were tricked into believing that they were bringing a cure to Ryder. As a result, the fake cure turned Ryder into the strongest mutation on the entire Banoi island. However, the consortium did not see this as a failure. Instead, they saw the potential for other bioweapon variants. They commanded Karen and the rest of the captured immunes to return to a floating military base under the command of Sam Hardy named HAUS Avenger. Another consortium operative, Frank Servo, was prepared to conduct the second test on the nearby island, Palanai, within the Banoi archipelago. They used the stronger mutagen they had created for this purpose. To avoid confusion, we will refer to this enhanced virus as Pathogen HK Level 2, based on the virus used to initiate the infection on Palanai Island. Not to mention Yurama as an asymptomatic carrier of the tribe serving as Patient 0. Yurama was initially supposed to be the person who could be harvested to create a cure, similar to Tisha. However, she was injected with a stronger virus pathogen HK level 2 instead. So when she bit a soldier from HMS Avenger who was restraining her, the infection began to spread inside the ship. The moment Yerema bit a soldier was also the moment Karen disappeared. Throughout the game, there are secret files that you can find and collect. These files reveal that Consortium ordered Serpo to send Karen to their headquarters for debriefing. This means that Karen was not arrested, nor was he on the HMAS Avenger or on the island of Palanai when the outbreaks happened. Instead, he was relocated to organization headquarters. The files also suggest that they suspect Karen might have his own agenda that conflicts with their goals. However, the organization remains open to collaborating with Karen, highlighting his significant talent and irreplaceable position for the Consortium's big plan. After this point, we lose track of Karen as he is nowhere to be found or mentioned in Dead Island 2. Segment 4, Palanai. The ship turned into chaos. Serpo escaped with the helicopter to an unknown location, while the immunes washed up on the beach, helped by WHO operatives. Harlow suggested that the immunes immediately move to her camp. From there, she also escorted Sam Hardy, who led him and the immunes to clash. Logan ridiculed him.
You knew this, yet you did nothing to stop them.
I'm a soldier. I follow orders.
Well, soldier, here's an order for you. Go fuck yourself.
While Sam B kissed him with the palm of his hand in the face.
Oh, thank God you survived.
Yeah, now I owe you something, motherfucker.
Get up, you son of a bitch. Whoa, I owe you something too.
But Hardy wasn't kidding about his loyalty to his duties, as he still followed Serpo's command to lure the immune back by falsely claiming that the island was about to be nuclear bombed. So they all tried to escape the island to find a boat, but it was all gone. Then Hardy suggested that they go to the town of Henderson to meet his military friend for sending a chopper or something similar. Long story short, they managed to get to the town, but Harlow was missing.
Is Harlow here?
I thought she was with you. Who saw her last?
I thought we ran like crazy. I thought she was with us.
Fuck! You left her behind, just like you'd leave us all.
Jesus Christ, woman, get a grip.
Or what? You gonna hit her? Chima is right. All you immunes are getting a little crazy.
How? What the hell are you saying?
You don't trust us now? Well, maybe. We don't fucking trust you.
Everybody, just calm down.
It's the chemicals, the mutagens. Look at them. They can barely control themselves.
Come on, people. We've gone too far to give up now.
They keep moving forward to find Hardy's friend's military base, but it was already overrun by zombies. However, the communication devices were still intact. Without wasting time, the immunes communicate with it and found Serpo instead.
Serpo! You left us on the ship, you son of a bitch!
Look, I'm sorry about that.
Indicating that even the military was also controlled by the Consortium to support their research. This explains why the military was so cruel, ignoring people asking for help as described by the cinema owner, Jacqueline.
This base is our only chance for rescue. We must get in there.
I wouldn't. The military abandoned this town and everyone in it. They locked themselves in that base. Anyone who approached, anyone seeking shelter, was shot. After a while, people stopped trying.
Bloody heroes, eh?
Jesus.
At the same time as communicating with Serpo, in the background, we see Harlow sneaking into the main lab in the town and getting captured. Serpo commands not to let her get away.
Hold on a second.
What? Harlow? Are you positive? Okay, get her. Do it. Just don't let her get away.
Sorry about that.
Eventually, after communicating with Serpo to send a chopper for her help, Serpo reveals that Hardy's mention of the nuke is a lie.
We're more people here. We're working on a vaccine.
Yeah, and as soon as you have it, you're gonna nuke the whole damn island. Well, you must think I'm stupid as hell.
Where the hell did you hear that? Nuke the island. Did Hardy tell you that? Because if he did, that's bullshit.
So what? Should I believe you over him?
However, Serpo is still going to send a chopper to pick up the immunes.
Time's running short. I'm sending you a chopper. What's your location?
Old Town Cinema.
Watch yourself with Hardy. The man cannot be trusted. That chopper's on its way.
The immunes go back to the cinema to confront Hardy, but his reason for lying was that he believed that without the immunes alongside him, Serpo wouldn't bother to send a chopper.
I had to get you to move, all of you, and the threat of a nuke was the only way. And it worked, didn't it? I got us here after all. I simply did what I had to do.
So what? Now I'm still supposed to trust your ass? Believe whatever you say?
I'm not trying to make fucking friends, right? I'm trying to get us off this damn island, all of us. And the simple fact is that when Serpo gets here, he's not going to rescue these people. He only wants you. And I'll be damned if I let everyone else die, understand? And that's why we're taking the chopper from him.
Hardy proved his point when Serpo killed him while trying to get to the chopper instead of letting the immunes climb first. Out of nowhere, Logan pulled out a bazooka and shot the chopper tail.
Helicopter! Helicopter!
The helicopter crashed and managed to make an emergency landing at the nearby old fort before it exploded. The immunes ran after Serpo only to find him hiding on top of the fort. He didn't say anything but lies about Harlow's capture, claiming that Harlow is stealing the cure to sell it for profit.
There's a vaccine? Where is it? She's got it. And if you want it, you're gonna have to go and get it.
This ain't over, Serpo.
Turns out, she was also an immune individual captured and tested with the stronger mutagen of the base Palanai virus, which we will temporarily name pathogen HK level 3 to avoid confusion.
But what about that antidote?
Don't you understand? There is no antidote! He caught me when I tried to sneak in here. They tested the mutagen on me, not knowing what it would do. They didn't know I was immune like you. Look what it turned me into! I killed them all!
As Harlow demonstrated, with this new mutagen, if immunes use it excessively, they will turn into undefeatable beasts, which leads the immune to forcefully use this new mutagen to fight back. This is how the Riptide ends, with the cliffhanger of how the immune escapes and the consortium's idea fails to create a viable cure, instead further enhancing the base pathogen HK virus from the Narapella into 3 times more dangerous. These failed projects of Benoit's results have been received by Ruben, and he has begun the command to clear the island and ensure that every piece of evidence is eradicated so he can continue his research without anyone suspecting or hindering him. The main event he's mostly focused on is Jeremiah's figure. He believed that if he were to create another outbreak, he would require an asymptomatic carrier and patient zero, both of which were already eradicated in Banoi. Therefore, he does not have any viable option except to modify his own unborn child to become one. Segment 5. HAUS Establishment. On the other hand, unlike Ruben, who has the privilege of being part of a global conspiracy group, Lola works in her own private way. HAUS, on the surface, looks like a classic 60s era modernist mansion set amidst acres of prime clifftop real estate on the Malibu coast. Below the surface, it is a specialized research and development campus that prepares a digital safe house for people who are willing to be killed while maintaining their consciousness in order to be digitally served in a preparation for the upcoming zombie apocalypse. It focuses on BrinK technology, the organ field, and related zero clock stage matter, and function as the infrastructure for the Ark. Testing and filtering candidates for ascension into the Ark is also one of the main functions of HAUS. Lola founded this secret division of BrinK technology under the umbrella of Konradt Realities. Its potential member is allured with a magic envelope embodied as a mind control invitation to move the victims to its secret site. From the interview of some family members that has lost its housewife, indicates how helpless they are to get the wife back to them. There are no ways for them to go to the authorities as the evidence does not have enough support to blame HAUS cult and mostly only leads to court as the victims were not victims as they go to the site by themselves without any force. The police claim there is no evidence that any crimes have been committed. Yoni Kaplan, a Dead Island 2's fictional freelance reporter article, reveals about their investigation on the family of Mrs. Farah Sharik, who went AWOL for a month at the time of the investigation. Farah's family was bewildered by her sudden change in behavior. She had given no sign that she was unhappy, and yet within days, she had quit her position as an orthopedic surgeon and sold her apartment in Pacific Palisades, kicking her fiance of 6 years, Dennis Mutton, onto the streets. Dennis thought they were forever, but she just dumped him with hardly an explanation. Dennis was angry and said he wanted custody of their cat, Matilda, and Farah just said Dennis could have her, just like that. Farah literally said they're no longer important to her. The reporter tried to drive Dennis to the house entrance. They tried to knock the door, but no one answered and the doorbell bot told them to go away. But Dennis is not satisfied, so he waits outside for an hour. Dennis shouted desperately through the perimeter railings as Farah emerged from the main door, alone, waved, and raised a phone to her ears. Dennis' phone rang, and he answered, putting it on speaker to hear Farah's ultimatum directly.
Dennis, darling, please, move on. I have. You are embarrassing yourself. My eyes have been opened, and my work here is important, more than you could imagine. I'm sorry if this hurts. That is not my intent.
As the investigation continues, Dennis' desperation repeats itself with loved ones and families sharing their similar stories. Friends, children, husbands, and wives have all been swallowed by an enigma called HAUS. To provide more information on how the victims have expressed that they've opened their eyes, I will elaborate on this alongside another segment that aligns with the timeline of the HAUS outbreak. This timeline marks the construction of the HAUS, coinciding with Rites' planning for HKA. As mentioned earlier, Rites is working with HKA on Narapella, while Konradt focuses on the organ field in HAUS. The main purpose of HAUS is to test Lola's finding of organ material that can also trigger the zero clock state like the HKA from Ruben, which she built as the organ field. This infrastructure would also work as a ground satellite after she found out about her immunity to this orgonite but not to others. So, in order to save the non-immunes, she tests and filters candidates for ascension into the Ark by challenging them through multiple rites of passage designed by Konstantin Johnson. The Ark works by digitizing the victim's consciousness while preserving their bodies with a solvent that actively preserves their body with a latex suit as the container. Eventually, their bodies are fully pressed into storage as the nest for their dead bodies after being digitally uploaded to the organ field satellite. These individuals that have successfully been uploaded into the Ark satellite is called the Ascended. The Ascended will preserve humanity by repurposing the bodies after the outbreak is over. We can see Vincent and Veronique's goofy head and body connection as an early sample of the possible resurrection.
I apologize, Veronique, for not embracing you. My legs do not seem to be taking my calls.
Your company is more than enough, mon ami. I trust you have been taking good care of our special friend in my absence.
Only the finest service a head can give.
Oh my. We should make the most of this opportunity. Let's switch heads, Vincent. Truly explore our bodies together.
Oh, I already know your body very well.
Oh, but my memory of yours has gone dull.
After Lola discovers her immunity and finds a way to establish a telepathic connection, Lola reports her immunity to Ruben. As a result, Ruben classifies Lola as Numen, and the Numen's Hive Mind frequency is what facilitates Lola's telepathic ability.
We are rare. Precious.
What do you mean? What are we?
We are. Well, Ruben calls us Numen. We are the endpoint. Humanity distilled. I'm sorry. I had to push you hard.
What is intriguing is that the Hive Mind has certain frequencies that allows the telepathic connection, meaning that Lola can communicate with other Numens in the same frequency. Long story short, the result of HAUS include the Ark of Ascension, which technologically safeguards human minds and becomes the digital replica of the Numen's Hive Minds. It explores a possible ascended communication within the orgone field, which operates similarly to telepathy, allowing for a direct connection to other humans without the need for any devices. The orgone field serves as a ground satellite for both ascended non-hybrid communication and Numen hybrid telepathic connection.
Only their bodies die. Their minds are with me in the Ark to preserve humanity. I will let them tell you.
Hello? We've been watching. You make this look easy. Oh, my name is Hope, by the way.
Importantly, Numen possesses a natural telepathic connection, while the Ark technologically replicates this connection for the Ascended. These two telepathic servers can be intersected with the BrinK implant to enable the Ascended to communicate with Numens. Consequently, Konstantin needs to implant these BrinK in Slayers as well, using the white liquid from HAUS. To illustrate, the natural Numen telepathic connection can be likened to a private link, whereas the Ark functions as a public link. Segment 6. The Autophage Discovery. In 2010, Ruben discovered more fundamental re-evaluation of the concept of human. Encountering a significant shift in perspective that carries profound existential implications, humans represent one facet of a dual-mode organism. His experiments, supported by related projects, Narapella, Banoi, and Palanai, indicate that humanity is merely one aspect of a larger life cycle. We are a genus species, one side, ours, oblivious to the other. Reed previously believed our DNA belonged solely to us. It now appears that we are merely a manifestation, one of at least two that the true entity, our DNA, employs to express itself. At the zero clock state, our DNA undergoes a transformation. One mode of existence is discarded while another emerges. One mode, our own, is that of a eukaryotic multicellular organism characterized by growth and proliferation, an explosion of life. Reed calls it Numen. The other mode resembles a virus-like nanoid, seemingly designed for destruction, ultimately consuming itself in the process. It converts the disease into animated zombie factors for infection and devastation. An army with a singular goal, the annihilation of all things human, which being demonstrated with the Dirge from SoLA. This represents death, plain and simple, the conclusion of civilization. And this ticking clock exists within every individual on the planet. Rites have designated this as the autophage due to its similarity to autophagy, which is the natural process of cellular degradation that eliminates unnecessary or malfunctioning components through a regulated lysosome-dependent mechanism, facilitating the systematic breakdown and recycling of cellular materials. Before we continue the story, it seems like there are still some folks out there who are a bit confused about the distinction between the virus and the autophage. So let's delve even further into autophage. For your information, we'll be breaking down this segment into several subsegments: classification, infection, mutation, hybrids, deterioration, and hive mind. Subsegment 6.1 Classification. Looking back at the first game, it was all about the pathogen HK virus and the cannibalism practices of the native that caused it. People were scared of the virus and the dangers it posed while also trying to find a solution to control the infection. Some even tried to weaponize it or profit from the disaster. This just shows how greedy and ignorant people can be, because the real issue lies in the autophage. The pathogen virus was just one of many triggers that could set up that bomb. That's why even people who were immune to the virus, like Sam B, or those with O negative blood, could still get infected.
Sam, will you just tell him? Sam! He's burning up. We have to fly him out.
Come on. I'm staying here. Must be different shit this time.
Well, actually not different, just stronger. Subsegment 6.2 Infection. The next level of autophagy, as the name implies, is a survival mechanism according to Konradt. She compared it to a new extinction event, almost like a sixth Big Bang.
Humans. The autophage. Newman. It's an immense life cycle. A survival mechanism spanning countless eons. And we are the omega point.
This mechanism functions by breaking down cellular components and repurposing them to generate new materials that are more relevant to the organism's current requirements. In this case, Patton discovered this unidentified organ produced through the autophagic processes. He claimed that this new organ has the potential to enhance abilities. He showcased how a small hammer could transform into Excalibur with the help of this new organ.
And that's the point. Look at this.
God, what is that?
Notice the organ is still pulsating despite its host was already deceased. This is an important detail for the Hive Mind subsegment later.
Wrong question, my friend. What you should be asking is, what does it do?
Do? Patton. Patton?
You see this?
A tiny hammer.
A tiny hammer now. But behold, Excalibur!
Okay, so I am gonna go. I'm done. Enjoy whatever it is this is.
No, wait. It's just like in the movies. What? I know, right? It's insane! All this stuff, it does things.
This could be my EPO.
Yeah.
Kuru water? Yeah. It's fucking awesome.
That's why a bite can actually transmit it. It's not just through blood or saliva, but through the cell itself. That's why Ruben called it nanoid-like. So, when your bite leaves wounds, you're essentially ripping a cell apart, isn't that correct? And the fact that the zombie's mouth is obviously wounded as well, their cells can collide with yours and boom, you're infected. However, the previous immune individuals seems to have some level of protection against the infection. We noticed that someone on the plane crash quickly transformed into a mindless zombie almost immediately after got bitten, whereas Sam B was able to reach the chopper before he started turning. He has been bitten since he escorted Ronnie, remember?
Ronnie's taking afternoon tea with Jesus.
Shit. It's not your fault, alright? People who ain't like us don't last out here. I told him, but he wanted to be the big fixer. I got bit to fuck just keeping him alive this long.
This means that this is still the same trigger as Banoi's pathogen HK, but just stronger. And because Sam B has survived the Banoi's pathogen HK, he has a higher level of immunity compared to the person from the plane crash. Subsegment 6.3 Mutation. When it comes to mutation, we are referring to the different types of zombies from regular to epic zombies and all their variations. However, it might be overwhelming to think about all these zombies, so we can just trace back to the origin of the Autophage. Involving DNA and genome could imply genetic, physical, and psychological effects playing a significant role. Basically, Autophage can change your genetics and enhance your potential, whether it is in your physical abilities such as Crusher, Slobber, or Screamer, or in your psychological traits like Bursters and Butcher. The outcome depends on what dominates and defines your personality. Even if both aspects are equally strong, Autophage can enhance them all, similar to how the Mutator can adopt the attack pattern of every epic zombie. The Mutator is capable of ground pounding, screaming, and even blocking bullets with its Butcher's blade arm. Diving deeper into each zombie type feature, those individuals who possess well-toned muscles will use Autophage to enhance their strength. They become so incredibly powerful that they can even cause a minor earthquake with a single ground pound, earning them the title of Crusher.
You have to get it. Can you hear me? Boys, calm down. Steady. Hey, I never thought okay.
Moreover, if they have well-trained lungs, whether it be from singing or participating in sports like rollerblading or running, Autophage would amplify their lungs' capacity to the point where they become like screamers. Screamers possess the ability to generate powerful sound waves that can forcefully repel anything within their vicinity.
Hello.
There she is. Not looking so hot today, Nikki. Hey, bitch. Still think you're too good for running fucking
With me! Hey! That idiot was with me!
Same goes to the Slobber. If you got a massive appetite and can handle a ton of food in your stomach, Autophage takes you to the next level by boosting your potential and even making you immune to toxic fluids. Autophage would rather focus on physical factors to speed up the infection. However, if your mental state like depression or thoughts of self-harm has a stronger influence on your life, you might end up becoming one of those bursters. This is why they tend to mention such things before they explode.
Hello. Hello. Sorry. slowly. Help! Help! Help me! Let's be friends.
This is also happens with the Butcher. If you are filled with the evil thoughts and a love for violence, you can transform into the Butcher. Autophage will make you quick and nimble like your rage has been unleashed and amplified.
Child snatcher again.
You'll be so tough that not even bullets can break through your blade arm bones. It's similar to SoLA's ability to resist stomach acid. Ultimately, if your psychology has a mix of both self-harm and violence, you can be the cowboy Whipper. Whipper doesn't mind scratching herself or even shredding her own intestines as a form of self-harm. Using it to whip everyone is a form of love for violence, whereas the hateful words that come out of her mouth are a manifestation of evil thoughts. Basically, just like Burster, Whipper can talk while being quick and nimble like Butcher. And about Clother, they are a part of a dedicated segment later regarding one of SoLA's side mission flash memories. Why do I call it them? Because it is formed by a ton of people. What is interesting is that instead of being formed from epic zombies, the Clother consists of zombies' organs or flesh that are still pulsating even after death, such as organs that Pt.1 is collecting. This gets even more interesting, right? Please stay tuned. If you don't meet any of those requirements, you'll simply become a regular shambler, walker, or runner. It got me thinking, what if back when I was a human, I didn't have any bad intentions, motivation, or even depression? All I wanted was to live my life peacefully. They could create a new type of zombies like the harmless one from the movie Zombieland, Homer. These zombies would just chill at the park, enjoying sight of the fireflies, and eventually decompose on their own. That would be quite amusing, don't you think? Sub-segment 6.4 Hybrid. According to Rites, only 1 in a million becomes an Autophage hybrid Numen. Hybrid is essentially a human who have been infected and mutated yet still retain control over their consciousness. Individuals like Thurston and Cadenza are physically linked to specific type of zombie, Crusher and Screamer. However, Numen like the Slayers have the ability to switch between being Crusher, Screamer or Slover depending on their preferred rage. If they have any violent tendencies, they can become a Butcher too. Or rather, if they have the ability to switch between all these type of zombies, but can't obtain control of their consciousness, they become the Mutator. One question: what about the heroes from Banoi? They surely also have Fury mode, but they didn't physically or psychologically change anything. Well, their potential or specialty is indeed boosted by the Autophage, right? Sambi with his exceptional health and blunt expertise can rage smash his opponent with his knuckles. Shan with her agility, exceptional stamina, and sharp weapon expertise can rage slash her opponent while gaining stamina and even regain fury faster. Purna with her exceptional firearm expertise can rage shoot her opponent while her positive aura can buff nearby allies in her vicinity. Even her hatred towards men can make her deal more damage to the opposite sex. Same goes with Logan and his love for alcohol, Autophage helps him to heal from it. And not forgetting his professional football skill, he uses knives instead of a ball to rage throw it at his opponent. Lastly, John, with his survivor expert, can have his speed, stamina, and even health regeneration boosted by the Autophage, making him the most overpowered character to choose from in Riptide. Apart from that, Riptide introduced Group Fury, which aligns with the concept of Numen's telepathic frequencies that facilitate a connection between them. And all of this also supports Rites' claim about the pathogen HK from Banoi only triggering the Autophage prematurely. That should explain how they didn't significantly change their fury mode as legitimately as the zombies do, like the Slayers in Los Angeles, or further strengthen their connection to facilitate legitimate telepathy among humans like Konradt. Subsegment 6.5 Deterioration. Did you notice that this decomposition process was already effectively carried out by 3 types of zombies? Runner, Walker, and Shambler? The runner is a newly infected human who remains agile and fast. When someone gets bitten, they naturally panic and become desperate about what will happen next. But did you know that panicking actually increases the infusion of adrenaline? This is where the Autophage comes in. Autophage immediately sees that your visible potential at the time was adrenaline, so Autophage enhances the adrenaline even further. This powerful rush of adrenaline allows the person to ignore physical conditions such as tiredness and pain. They can keep going and running tirelessly and without feeling any pain until their body eventually realizes that it's deteriorating, turning them into a walker. The same process happens to walkers until they become shamblers. In another zombie franchise, the decline of the weakest zombie type indicates decomposition or death. However, in Dead Island 2, despite the zombies showing signs of decay, many of their organs and flesh remain intact and even pulsate. When these organs and flesh come together, they can create a hive mind capable of intelligence and a shared objective, namely declutter. Subsegment 6.6 Hive Mind. After eliminating a zombie, you might notice that their Autophage organs and flesh are still pulsating unless you burn them, right? As per Konradt's theory, this infection signifies the dawn of a new era of humanity that won't necessarily result in human extinction like Reed believes. And Konradt's telepathic communication abilities further supports the existence of a true hive mind that could facilitate connection among the Autophage hybrids human. The game also showcases this theory through the sewer system's biomass. Don't forget, Autophage manages cellular components, correct? Therefore, instead of burning it, melting it down simply releases them all, making it easier to break down the cells. In this scenario, the Halperin hotel pool is filled with a mixture of meat soup from both living and infected or suspected infected individuals flow directly into the sewer system. That's right, the system where all the water converges as one massive unity and it transports Autophage. There are even theories suggesting that the massive collective consciousness residing within the sewers is responsible for triggering earthquakes throughout LA, given the interconnected nature of the sewer system. In other words, this simulated earthquake is nothing but the hive mind taking a breath.
You're breathtaking!
Ruben found that Banoi's pathogen HK is only activates Autophage prematurely. Therefore, for the next outbreak, he needs to perfect pathogen HK. With the help of its latest and strongest version, temporarily named pathogen HK level 3, which Harlow used from Palanai, he forges the virus and increases its level of danger. Essentially, he intends to ensure that even the last missing immune individuals would not be able to retain their immunity and seek better immunes, ultimately finding the true immune individuals, humans. Ruben calls this new base virus as HK1. To avoid confusion, we can also temporarily name this HK1 virus as pathogen HK level 4. Doesn't want to be left behind by Ruben, Lola is also perfecting her Autophage trigger after finding the right tuning from HAUS, the organ ball, with the psychosonic mood speakers. However, in the actual application, it basically just amplifies the fine-tuned organ radiation to trigger people's autophage. After the discovery of this hive mind, they go their separate ways because Lola wants to embrace the infection as the next step of humanity with great powers, while Ruben wants to use Newman to create a neutralizer. That's why Lola said there is no cure, because it only reverts the autophage effect back to that of a normal human, And moreover, Autophage is not a plague.
Only Newman, like us, can carry humanity through it.
The plague. You're working with Reuben to make a cure.
There is no plague. Reuben, he was a good man once, but now he is blinded by desperation. He's not making a cure.
What?
He's not making a cure because he can't. No one can. Humans. The autophage. Newman. It's an immense life cycle. A survival mechanism spanning countless eons.
The separate ways are, as Tisha grows older, Reuben initiates another outbreak. However, instead of starting it on some random island without his direct oversight, fearing that other organizations may alter his intentions as what happened in Banoi, Reuben releases the HK1 in LA. This is because the Newman rarity scale aligns with the high population in LA, increasing the chances of finding Newman. Additionally, he can directly supervise this situation. Reuben also utilizes the sewers to dispose of the dissolved autophage biomass, intentionally creating a simulation of the autophage hive mind in order to find the perfect Newman and develop a cure with Tisha. Meanwhile, Lola takes advantage of the SoLA Festival to also search for perfect Newmans and simulate the hive mind by sacrificing 30,000 people at SoLA stage. With these distinct objectives, they have agreed not to interfere with each other's current and future plans. Segment 7. SoLA Establishment. SoLA is not just any music festival. I mean, who could overlook the iconic character who always rocks headphones and lives for music like the screamer Newman? Remember when I mentioned her in my video on Konrad's trio? She's got some serious powers when it comes to sound waves, music, singing, and dancing. I even call her the vision for the trio, as even the leader Konradt often asks for suggestion on the next move or direction, as she's got this knack for sensing people's emotions and truthfulness. It's pretty clear that she played a key role surrounding this psychosonic mood speaker creation. If we examine this ball and dazzling wave more closely, we could assume it was a fury emitter from HAUS. However, that's not entirely true. The concept still involves activating autophage in nearby beings, but activating autophage in your DNA implies that you'll turn into a zombie unless you're a Newman, right? So, how exactly did Cadenza contribute to the creation of this mood speaker? As I mentioned before, Cadenza's expertise in sound waves was a key factor. Assuming she has the most sensitive hearing and feeling, when she carefully examining the fury emitter, she picked up on some strange static or magnetic field sound. She closed her eyes, trying to focus more on it. Then, out of nowhere, she experienced a peculiar sensation in her head, almost like somebody else trying to communicate, but it was hard to make sense of. Without wasting any time, she quickly shared this discovery with the rest of the trio and Konstantin. Cadenza is a big fan of music and she recalls how a speaker works. This sparks an idea in her mind to connect a sound system to the fury emitter, along with a powerful amplifier to make the sound waves more distinct and powerful. Subsegment 7.1. Cadenza's huge mood speaker. After several tests, Konstantin has conducted some incredible results regarding the amplifier application to the organ ball. In fact, Konstantin can somewhat decipher the possible content of the unfiltered voices.
A song or chant, 4 sounds, a repeating sequence. 4 sounds, 4 nucleobases. G, T, C, A. I believe this is a code to switch the autophage on. The orgone spheres in the prototype speakers could only project so far. The huge speaker in the club has the power to be heard across the world.
Konradt prevented Cadenza from using the big speaker to replace the small amplifier used on the main stage because, as Constantine measured it, it was too dangerous. To ensure that Cadenza cannot access the file, she was disconnected from the rest of the organ field satellite and the Ark.
Cadenza's been bad, and isn't allowed on the sofa.
Lola then splits the turned frequencies sound file into 4 parts. She doesn't want to infect the whole world with this larger psychosonic speaker. We can temporarily name it as Psychosonic Level 2 because it is similar to the Partisan HK series.
It's too dangerous, Cadenza. You can't have that sound file. Nobody can.
Oh, it's the key to what we are!
Cadenza!
However, unlike Lola, Constantine actually doesn't care if the world is destroyed and humans turn into zombies, but he still respects Lola's decision as his creator. But he finds some gaps while Cadenza is trying to fight Lola's advice and insisting on making the Psychosonic Level 2 work by secretly going back to the SoLA's location and trying to recollect the split parts herself if she had a chance. Despite the drama, Konradt sticks to the plan of using the Psychosonic Mode speaker to turn people around the stage into zombies in order to gather more humans. She falsely portrays this dangerous speaker simply as the name would imply, boosting the mood of the festival goers to make the experience more enjoyable. Actually, the event organizer, especially the sound boy, doesn't know how to utilize the speaker as they have never seen it before. But they can't reject Konradt's request as she is the biggest sponsor of the event. Subsegment 7.2 Grace's Broadcast. In some documents regarding the mute speaker, Konradt insisted on only turning on the sound once the event started. But out of curiosity and for the sake of performance, the soundboy was trying to test how the speaker works by turning it on to see how it goes. Not long after they turned it on, the entire crew near the speaker suddenly felt a headache. Fortunately, one of them managed to turn the speaker off before things got worse. Interestingly, there is a barricaded house right in front of the SoLA entrance. During the SoLA event, the event organizer couldn't remove Grace's house, so they had to barricade her house instead. She's been living here for such a long time that she has witnessed countless strange occurrences even before the SoLA event took place.
This place, it's special. I've mapped it all out. Strange things have always happened here.
Grace was the sole person who had a peculiar intuition about the strange glass speaker. That's how she calls the mode speaker, by the way. Driven by her compassionate nature, she attempted to share what she heard and advised against visiting SoLA. However, instead of expressing gratitude or heeding her warning, people simply ridiculed her and questioned her sanity.
I have tried my whole life. People like you don't want to believe. You just want everything to stay normal.
This deeply saddened Grace, as all she wanted was to caution others about the potential harm this device could inflict, similar to her own experience. Little did she know that this ability to hear fellow human was simply a manifestation of her being a human herself. As time passes, Grace finds herself surrounded by more voices and beats, while more and more people choose to ignore her advice and label her as crazy. It's the fact that people disregard her and doubt her honesty that truly brings her down. If only people would trust her, things could be so different, both for them and Grace herself. Grace doesn't give up that easily, and she keeps warning more people to avoid visiting SoLA by broadcasting her warning both with her loudspeaker and through a radio communication device. Segment 8 HAUS Outbreak. If you have just finished the DLC and you're not a fan of psychological horror games, especially ones with sexual or death themes, you might be feeling a bit frustrated and wondering what on earth you just played. Well, you're in luck because in this segment, we're going to explore the cult aspect of the game in a more positive and empathetic way while also trying to make sense of it all. Now, let's break down this deep analysis into several sub-segments focusing on the most questionable events in the game: teleportation, Latex, Constantine's Chosen, Rituals, Ascended Ark, and Overgrown Brain. Subsegment 8.1 Invitation. It might seem like you're playing and suddenly teleported at the entrance of the house after inspecting a random invitation. However, according to Constantine, it was the thing that brought you there. Constantine also details how the BrinK implant's connection was established through this random couple.
I brought you here. Two were sent to a very specific time and place, and there they found you.
Hold the fuck on.
Oh god. How the fuck did this happen? It's not meant to be like this. Montana. Do you mean Montana?
So, you might wonder, are we being mind controlled? Well, technically yes, but Constantine's goal was never to control our minds. The AI respects us as humans, so we still have some level of control over our bodies, even though the AI could easily take over. Subsegment 8.2 Uniform. Why opt latex among all clothing materials? It's not just about fetish or S&M roleplays. The answer lies in science. It's about preserving the body. In other words, we require a suit that can keep our body airtight while completely covered with the preservation solvent. We need to make sure this body stays intact for repurposing it post-zompocalypse. HAUS' goal is to achieve immortality by having cyberpunk-like entities which perfectly preserve bodies that require no food or bodily functions, just regular maintenance like a machine. Philosophically, latex suit represents equilibrium. People look similar in latex. But stylish latex wearers doesn't fully cover their bodies. They lack understanding of the equilibrium philosophy, putting them in a lower rank. Price level member like Vincent, Veronique, and Young-ho wear full body latex with a simple design. Subsegment 8.3 Constantine's Chosen. Self-explanatory, these individuals, Vincent, Veronique, and Young-ho, have been chosen by Constantine to create the house level and ritual based on their expertise. Additionally, we have Chef Long and his Piglet family as the community logistics, while Iris and Francesca Bloom contribute as the community artists. Interestingly, another couple of the chosen was Joshua and his wife Angelina. However, due to the uncontrollable outbreak, the trio of Vincent, Veronique, and Young-ho was assigned the critical role of guarding the Ascension door. They became a physical key code using their heads to prevent zombies and other random entities from passing through, except for the Constantine spatial guests or the new chosen ones. Constantine foresaw that certain individuals could assist the cult in achieving their objectives, a notion hinted at by the presence of a plane. Consequently, Joshua and Angelina were given the responsibility of reaching out to these special guests. Yeah, the Slayers. Their task was to ensure that the Slayers could join forces with the cult to complete what had been started, reinforcing the importance of their mission in the face of the ongoing chaos. Also, it is worth mentioning that Francesca decided to respectfully part ways even though Vincent praised her for her valuable contributions to HAUS.
Francesca Bloom responded.
Francesca Bloom, the only one whose vision rivals my own. Pollution from the 7 oceans left such an impression upon me.
Francesca received an invitation to join HAUS but declined by sending an empty canvas to symbolize her interest. Her demeanor indicates that she either remained in LA or was unable to leave during the initial outbreak, which took a toll in her mental health. She painted her house and many of her belongings red, turning it into a recognizable landmark. It is located to the right after entering the zone from Bel Air and passing an information board.
A sculptor of perceptions, of minds, of reality itself. We might have some trouble with those. Just remember, true art requires sacrifice.
While completing her quest, she can often be found painting with a severed hand and discussing her unique artistic methods. Once you finish her task, she has moved from her garage to her now accessible yard. There, she admires her creation, a corpse on a horse constructed from body parts secured to wooden beams for support.
Yes, facing the truth of our own grotesque reality is a miraculous experience. But see, you are free. You are absolved. God, I wish I were you.
Her tone suggests that she might be one of us, a Newman. Yet, after finishing all her quest, Francesca seems distant from the Slayers. Does this indicate that she regrets turning down HAUS' invitation, only to feel jealousy towards the Slayers? Subsegment 8.4 Rites of Passages. Do you remember what I mentioned in the previous segments about the Autophage mutation and HAUS goal? The Autophage mutation reflects our genetics, physicality, and even our psychology, depending on which aspect is stronger, or if they are all equally strong, Autophage can enhance them all. Now, as for the HAUS goal, it's all about saving humanity, both Numen and non-Numens. While of course, hybrid Numen can be saved physically, non-hybrid can only be saved digitally. Why? Constantine knows that being a non-hybrid can turn you into a zombie where you lose control of both your genetics and physicality aspect, so the safest approach will be psychological.
Constantine will preserve humanity through us.
But to be saved, we have to die.
Ah, I see. Come.
This leads to the concept of digital ascension, where the human soul is artificially recreated digitally. Think of it like the movie Chappie, where human brains can simply be uploaded onto a flash disk and reprogrammed into human-like robots. A recent example would be that gorgeous game Stellar Blade. As if you can collect memory sticks from fellow deceased cyborgs to be submitted to the game's AI god, Mother Spare. While in Dead Island 2, the Slayers have an AI prophet, Constantine. But instead of using robots, HAUS is trying to repurpose your own deceased body to be usable again in the future once the artificial soul collection arc called the Ark of Ascension is completed and actually works. According to Constantine, in order to achieve this digital ascension, one must surpass the Rites of Passages, a ceremony or event that marks an important stage in someone's life, such as birth, puberty, marriage, or death. Naturally, every person will eventually face these Rites of Passages in real life, but the timing and duration of each event remains uncertain. However, Constantine, in its attempt to predict the closeness of the impending zombocalypse, decided to expedite the process by simulating these Rites of Passages at the HAUS facility. The only issue is that this chosen trio seems to be either overly ambitious or just plain crazy, as they opted for the most challenging rites such as enduring agony and making sacrifices.
Why kill all these people?
Only their bodies die. Their minds are with me in the Ark to preserve humanity.
So let's divide this sub-segment into 3 more sub-segments, each representing the unique ritual locations: Vincent's Suburban, Veronique's Maze, and Young Ho's Dinner. Sub-segment 8.4.1 Vincent's suburban. Let's start with Vincent because he seems to be the most down-to-earth and humble guy compared to Veronique and even Young-ho, who always seems so serious and eccentric about everything. Vincent's simplicity and humorous character are reflected in his creation, the suburban site, which he dubbed Cul de Sac. The place has a colorful and vibrant settings with a nice sky ceiling design, despite that the actual ritual in his house is still considered nasty by regular people. However, the other chosen creation was way much wilder. A suburban environment serves as an ideal backdrop for a horror game. The seemingly tranquil and familiar landscape, characterized by quiet streets, neatly trimmed lawns, and cozy homes, creates a stark contrast to the unsettling events that can unfold within it. This juxtaposition amplifies the tension as players navigate through an ordinary neighborhood that hides dark secrets and lurking dangers. The isolation often felt in suburban areas, combined with the eerie silence of empty streets at night, can evoke a sense of vulnerability and dread, making it a compelling choice for horror narratives. The familiarity of these settings can also lead to a deeper emotional connection, as players might find themselves questioning the safety of their own surroundings while immersed in the chilling atmosphere. If we take a look at the architecture, these 5 houses represent pentagram symbols. But hold on, we're not going to associate this pentagram with satanic theories. Rather, we will redirect those theories back into equilibrium. It's about finding a balance between all 4 elements: earth, fire, water, and air, plus ourselves as the medium to support this balance. The 4 classical elements have been a subject of study and belief across various generations, cultures, and religious traditions. These foundational concepts, which include earth, water, air, and fire, have influenced philosophical thought and scientific inquiry throughout history. Their significance transcends individual ethnic backgrounds and spiritual practices, highlighting a shared human curiosity about the natural world and its fundamental components. What balance means in the context of these elements and humans is somewhat like, for instance, humans and water. Proportionally, water can bring life to humans, but excessively, water can drown humans and bring them to death. Similarly, earth can give us life, but it can also take it away, as war is usually about earth and what it contains within it. The same goes for air and fire. Things can become twisted to the opposite side if they don't find balance. This concept is also similar to the Autophage clock. Once its count reaches 0, will be forcefully chosen to either one side or another. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the ground, we can notice 2 paths to reach every houses. One path is the obvious clear concrete road and sidewalk. The other is, well, we can just walk through the grass too, because the zombies will spawn and we can get more levels and loots before going straight to the mission. This represents that we are brought here to help balance these 4 elements plus 1 ourselves. And as options, there's an obvious, clear and recommended way for the concrete path, or we'll be in trouble if we don't follow the sign of keeping off the grass. Despite the trouble of not taking the recommended path, we can still earn rewards and everything if you manage to overcome all the challenges, like how you can slay the spawned zombies and collect the loots. However, it will also make the journey longer to reach your main goal.
Keep off the grass? Too late for a bonghead like me. Oh, literally keep off the grass.
Some people might even get attached to staying on the grass for promising loot, but if they continue, they could stray too far from the main goal or even forget it altogether, wasting all the time they have without ever reaching their goals. There are 4 rituals in these houses. First, there's the confession. Even though it's rigged, you can't trick the microphone with just any random confession. This advanced lie detector is not only able to detect lies, it's also able to detect true honesty. This represents the essence of genuine sincerity. It's not just about not lying or telling blatant lies, but rather about being open and truthful. And if you manage to achieve this, don't be careless. A zombie wearing your mask will appear and you have to kill it.
Video drone.
This means that being more openly honest while still being mindful to the potential outcomes will lead to triumph over your false persona. In real life, we often find ourselves in a situation where even being honest might not be the most effective decision, as our honesty can sometimes lead to trouble for someone else. However, we must be aware that there are also people who purposely use their honesty to bring others down. On the other hand, if we simply lie, there will undoubtedly be consequences which can be more harmful not only to ourselves but also to others. Either way, we still have to take action to move on to the next step, or otherwise we will be trapped in this scenario much longer than it should be. Let's now move on to the cremation ritual, where we burn our possessions to prevent ourselves from becoming too attached to material things. It's important not to let material possessions hold us back from our true goals. This shows how being obsessed with material possessions can cause someone to lose sight of who they really are. It can either make them incredibly kind or extremely wicked. We can see examples of people who, because of their wealth, either they help the less fortunate or mock them, or even worse, take advantages of the poor to become even richer. The same goes for intelligence. You can use your knowledge to educate and uplift others, or manipulate and deceive them. And even with physical attractiveness, position or power, the list goes on. But remember, there is always a balance, a natural equilibrium that ensures both good and bad action have consequences and will catch up with us eventually. After going through the first two rituals that targeted your hearts and mind, now it's time for the third one at Vincent's place, the Agony Endurance. You've been coerced to confessing your wildest secret, then all your possessions have been reduced to ashes. Do you believe you've endured enough suffering? Well, let's put that to the test right here. The previous two rituals inflicted pain on your soul through confession and torched your hard-earned work, leaving some people on the brink of madness. But if you have managed to survive those two and maintaining your sanity, embrace yourself for this physical torment ritual. Sure, we often think that depression can be deadly, but let's be rational here. Physical harm can wreak havoc much faster than psychological distress, affecting both your heart and mind. Essentially, if your physical health is deteriorating and not properly cared for or treated, you can eventually face death despite your psychological condition being okay. However, this is not the case with psychological harm. No matter how bad your stress is, if it doesn't make you physically sick, you won't be killed. This means that even psychological problems ultimately aim to manifest as physical ailments in order to be able to kill you. So again, the aim now is to target your physical well-being. This should make you more aware of your physical well-being. If you're in good health, keep it up and stay safe, while also mastering the courage to defend yourself against any attacks on your heart and mind that might try to harm you.
Instant toothache!
Subsegment 8.4.2 Veronique's Maze. Once you completed all three rituals, your next task will be to retrieve Veronique's head from her maze, which she calls the Deeper. This place is still connected to Vincent's suburban and will lead you to the fourth ritual. Remember the third ritual? It was all about enduring agony. Well, this time you'll truly understand how far you can endure it.
I love the way water dulls the senses. raise the mind, but bliss can only guide you so far. Submerge yourself. Good. Go deeper. Disappear beneath the surface. Good girl. No, don't come up yet. Stay there. Feel your lungs tighten. Lose yourself for me. And when you can't take it anymore, take it more. And... yes, good girl. Surrender to me, and I will guide you to acceptance.
It's a reminder that in life, we all have our limits. Some might argue that we should break those limits, but the context here is we're talking about situation where, like, when you see someone flaunting their wealth, like a branded accessories, and you desperately want it too, you know you can't afford it, yet you still try every possible way to obtain it. This is when you don't understand your own limits. Now, a little bit of envy can be motivating if you really want that item. Just work harder to get it, but if you've done your best and still can't get it, you can let it go and move on. But if you take it too far, you'll only end up hurting yourself. Then what if we only feel extremely jealous when others show off their wealth? Just remember the consequences of the keep of the grass sign and the ritual of material possession. Those who are overly cocky or show off in a negative way will face their own consequences, and if they continue to flaunt their wealth excessively, it's a clear sign of material possession, which is already not a good thing for themselves and can hinder their true personality as humans. Let's get back to Ronnie's maze. That's her preferred nickname, by the way. This maze is quite intense. It's filled with optical illusion and even has a deep empty pool that acts as a death trap without any safety measures. Young-ho mentioned that some candidates couldn't handle the test and became depressed, leading them to commit suicide in the empty pool.
So soon, Ho. Most spend weeks in the deeper, struggling under the weight of Constantine's vision, or just throw themselves into the pits. I was right about you.
I know what's waiting for me on the other side, but I'm ready to ascend.
Prove it.
This is caused by how clueless they are about their limits, which leads them to forcefully push beyond those limits, costing them their sanity. When you attempt to reattach Ronnie's head to her body in the lobby of the house, in Vincent's suburban area, you observe that the grass was intentionally obscuring the clear path. This forced you to trudge through the grass where zombies would emerge, even though you were on a crucial mission. This scenario serves as a philosophical metaphor for life. Often, you strive to avoid the overgrown areas and stick to the clear path to reach your goals swiftly and without hassle. Yet, there are times when circumstances compel you to navigate the unclear road, confronting unwanted challenges, especially when you're engaged in something significant. This can make your journey feel longer and more arduous, even when you wish to avoid such detours. Returning to your primary objective after retrieving Ronnie's head, you may observe that the maze now emanates a chilly blue aura instead of its previous warm red appearance. From a philosophical standpoint, this implies that acknowledging your limitation might initially seem to diminish your potential. However, in reality, it allows you to become more at ease, maintaining a sense of normalcy and handle situations with greater ease, making the experience more enjoyable and less demanding. Subsegment 8.4.3 Young-ho's dinner. After we placed Ronnie's head, she assigned us to the next task of locating Young-ho's head within a mysterious man-made forest. The forest had a dinner restaurant nestled between the trees, separated by a gate dividing the area into two sections. One side housed the well side, while the other contained Young-ho's head within the dinner. However, access to Young-ho's head was blocked by an overgrown brain that is immune to regular damage except for a special weapon, the crossbow. We will discuss how this crossbow can effectively destroy these brains in specific segment. Our mission now is to locate the community artist Iris in order to obtain the crossbow. Ronnie mentioned that Iris was hiding inside the sacred well. To open the gate of the well, we must ignite the bonfire pyro. Pyro literally means fire, heat, or high temperature. There are 3 bonfires located outside the dinner gate. From a philosophical standpoint, all rite of passage can be broken down into 3 main phases. Separation, which involves detachment from one's previous status. Liminality, a time of testing, learning, and growth marked by an ambiguity of status and associated with instruction and teaching. And incorporation, which is a formal public presentation of the person or people who have gone through the ritual, marking their re-entry into society. After we managed to destroy the overgrown brain that was locking the gate to the dinner with the crossbow we retrieved near Iris' corpse, before we sit down for dinner, there's one final ritual, the sacrifice. We all listened to the earlier recording attentively. The recording suggests that during this ritual, the candidate, Hope, started feeling exhausted and tempted to give up. But then Young-ho spoke up asking if she can't surpass this test, how can then? It's a moment in life when you feel like you've faced enough challenges and are ready to throw in the towel. However, you need to remember that no matter how tough things get, there are people or things who look up to you, who rely on you for everything. They wouldn't know what to do if you were to disappear or give up. It's a huge responsibility placed on your shoulder. Instead of feeling burdened by it, use it as a motivation. Turn their trust in you into your strength. Keep pushing forward until the weight feels lighter. Think of bodybuilders. They work out lifting weights to build muscle, and as they grow stronger, they increase the weights. It's a continuous cycle until they reach their desired goal. Still, if you've already grown stronger, don't let it get to your head. Remember, it just means that you're prepared for the next ritual, sacrifice.
Hope has proven herself worthy. Kneel, Hope.
For Constantine.
You two, tend to her wound. Peg, take Hope's arm. Prepare to feast.
The candidate must cut off one of their arms and hand it over to Mr. Piglet to cook. Cook it? Yes. Not only do we cut it, but we'll also eat it.
Behold, the arm.
Please, do start while it's still warm.
For Constantine.
It may sound ridiculous, but in reality, this mirrors the cannibalistic practices of the Kuru tribes deep in the jungle back on the island of Banoi in order to simulate the pathogen HK virus as trigger for Autophage activation. Or, in a more philosophical sense, we detach a body part only to consume it ourselves, echoing the old adage, what goes around comes around. There is no true sacrifice because whether good or bad, it will always come back to you, either in the same or different form if we are aware of it. So, if something negative happens to you, reflect on your past actions instead of questioning fairness. And if you can't find any mistakes that warrant such treatment, remember that there will always be a way to redeem yourself in exchange for the difficult situation that you don't deserve to face. Sub-segment 8.5 The Ark of the Ascended. The concept of HAUS Ark of Ascension in Dead Island 2 draws parallels to the biblical tale of Noah's Ark, symbolizing a fresh start amidst chaos. This narrative is rich with themes of faith, adherence to a higher calling, and the profound spiritual insights that accompany humanity's trials. Just as Noah and his followers navigated the great flood sent by God, the characters in Dead Island 2 face their own catastrophic event, which serves as a metaphorical deluge that threatens their existence. In the context of Dead Island 2, the zombie apocalypse can be likened to this great flood, representing an unavoidable disaster that looms over humanity. However, unlike the biblical account where Noah received direct instructions, the survivors in this game are given a chance to prepare and respond to the impending doom. The Ark of Ascension becomes a sanctuary for those who are willing to heed the warnings and take action, emphasizing the importance of readiness and community in the face of overwhelming odds. The narrative encourages players to reflect on the significance of unity and resilience during times of crisis. Just as Noah's Ark was a vessel of hope and survival, HAUS Ark of Ascension serves as a beacon for those seeking refuge from the chaos of the zombie-infested world. This journey not only highlights the necessity of faith and obedience, but also underscores the spiritual lessons that emerge from humanity's struggles, inviting players to engage with these themes as they navigate their own path to survival. After completing all the rituals at the 3 locations chosen by the trio, we are now prepared to initiate the ascension process at Konstantin's main site. Essentially, we function as a device with our body serving as the hardware and our soul as the software. To transmit data from our brain to the server known as the Ark of the Ascended, we require a medium. Konradt created BrinK to serve as this connection medium. Since we are linked openly, the data is accessible to everyone in the Ark. This is how they are able to view our point of view and implement other privacy measures.
I will let them tell you.
Hello? We've been watching. You make this look easy. Oh, my name is Hope, by the way.
Oh, that's question 10.
I'm here, in the Ark with the others. We will rebuild the human race, once the storm is past. But now, the Ark is being attacked. They'll suck our souls dry. Please, we need your help.
Sub-segment 8.6 Overgrown Brain. We've already learned about how Konstantin can save humanity in previous segments, but why is the cult now seeking our help? The Ark project was interrupted by an infection that occurred towards the end of the project. In response to this, the site was immediately sealed off. To ensure security, they created a larger lock with the heads of the Chosen serving as the device containing chained security key. That's why even though Young-Ho's head has been corrupted, Vincent and Ronnie were still able to obtain the code as they are still connected with BrinK.
He's been corrupted!
Kill him.
Poor Young-Ho.
He could not live up to his own standards.
Screw that, what about the fucking door?
We were able to retrieve Young-Ho's code. Approach the door. Konstantin awaits.
Let's shift our attention back to why Konstantin is our assistant, the overgrown brains. Remember how Autophage can enhance our abilities? This also happened to Iris' brain. However, Iris wasn't the first victim. She was actually supposed to test the K-prototype crossbow to eliminate those overgrown brains.
Impressive aim, Iris. Perhaps those visions were of you after all. But this one is beyond salvation, darling. It is tragic. But Konstantin's orders were clear. Destroy the brain and end it. Ah, how beautifully barbaric.
However, when she brought it near her, the intense Autophage radiation affected her brain, causing her to suffer the same fate as the target she was meant to eliminate. If you take a look at the paintings and graffiti on the walls of the well, you'll notice that Iris illustrated future events that ended up happening to us, like the plane crash.
Creepy deja vu. It all feels so familiar. Iris was telling a story of things that hadn't happened yet.
This shows how Autophage boosted Iris' brain, flooding it with advanced knowledge and information, allowing her to foresee events that hadn't even occurred yet. But when we saw her corpse near the crossbow, her head was still intact and there was no sign of her head being exploded. This was later explained by the conversation between Vincent and Ronnie, possibly hinting at how Iris managed to be safe into the Ascended Ark before her head exploded.
I do wonder if Iris saw any more visions before Ascension.
We must ask. Once we are all reunited again.
It will not be long now. Constantine will not fail us.
The human body, especially the head, isn't designed to handle such intelligence. As a result, the head explodes due to the rapid growth of the brain. However, the brain remains intact and enlarged while being immune, similar to how Autophage grants immunity to enhanced abilities like Butcher's Blade Arm or a more resilient Slobber Stomach. It also grants immunity to these tendrilling exposed brains. That's why we can't destroy them with regular damage. Now, why do these overgrown brains usually appear near entrances, gates, or doors? It's because those are used to be guarded. When people work as guards, their bodies are often passive, leading into increased brain's activity. This causes their Autophage to focus on their brains while they continue to fulfill their duty of guarding the entrance even after death. Constantine was informed about this phenomenon and wasted no time in developing crossbow bolts with Autophage materials. Constantine AI was clever enough to realize that the best way to combat Autophage was by using Autophage itself. As a result, the cults developed the K prototype crossbow. Let's take a closer look at this unique crossbow. The incident involving Iris could be viewed as a setback by those who didn't pass their rites of passage. However, Constantine understands that no matter how big the failure, there's always an actual accomplishment that comes out of it, and it's no small feat. Reflecting Iris' failure, Constantine was inspired to develop the Fury Emitter, which is incredibly useful for rapidly charging up Fury. You see, this goes to show that no matter how severe your failure may seem, there's still a significant opportunity to achieve something greater that can benefit not only to yourself but also others. To cut a long story short, Konradt started the HAUS Foundation along the same timeline as research on Banoi. More than a decade later, the HAUS project was put on hold and sealed off just before they could finish the Ark of Ascension due to the outbreak. Constantine managed to reach out to you through the Chosen's wife bite during a plane crash. When you were at Emma's place, you discovered the HAUS invitation and Constantine took control of your body, leading you to the HAUS cult to complete the almost finished Ark of Ascension by eliminating the 10 drilling exposed brain that were hindering its completion. By destroying them, you assisted in finishing their work.
Well, color me embarrassed. The cult actually delivered.
As a reward, you were injected with an unknown white liquid that enhanced your connection to the Ark.
BrinK.
The immediate result was experiencing vivid images of events that would unfold in the future. As you continued playing the game, you realized that all those pictures came true throughout the rest of the game. Segment 9, Los Angeles. Ruben finds Noah as the HK1 spread. Prior to becoming a mutator, Noah was immune to the base HK1 virus and volunteered to help Dr. Ruben Reed find a cure with his immunity.
Hey, I'm Dr. Reed, but you can call me Ruben. Noah, they told me there's something in my blood that... Yeah, shh. Let's keep your specialness just between us for now, okay? Okay, sure. But it's about a cure? If our preliminary results are right, then you have a miracle in your blood. Now that we've found you, humanity stands a chance. Cool. So, what happens to me? You just take some blood, or...? We need to get you to our lab on Ocean Avenue. We have the equipment there, and answers to all your questions, I promise. Okay, you're the doctor.
After heinous experiments, Noah lost his immunity, failing the rebirth process in becoming a true human, and instead becoming a mutator. Now let's go back to how the Banoi process of creating a cure, collecting the immunes and then exposing them with the mutagen, aka the stronger version of the base virus, over and over until the immune individual lost their immunity to measure the viable cure dosage. Back to the base virus for LA HK1. Now we can call the newer virus tested for Noah as HK1 level 2. Or to avoid confusion, we can use the name pathogen HK level 5 instead to remember the ranks of the virus from the very beginning of the lore back in Narapella. It is said that Noah failed to be reborn as humans. Now we can also understand how Sam B is losing his immunity despite being bitten only once while helping Ronnie, which indicates that he was only exposed to the base virus. In some Reddit developer Emma, Dambuster claimed that Sam B is immune but does not yet have all the necessary ingredients to become humans like Noah. So, if we remember the temporary names of the virus levels, Sam B can only suppress the infection up to the base LA virus pathogen HK level 4, but Noah can suppress the infection up to its mutagen, the stronger version of it, pathogen HK level 5. This indicates that if Sam B were not cured by Ruben's cure, he would also turn into a mutator like Noah. To recall the temporary virus naming, the Narapella based virus HK8 turned into pathogen HK. In Banoi, West created a stronger virus which turned a rider into a mutator. We call it pathogen HK level 2, and it also became the base virus for Palanai. Later on, we also referred to the stronger virus tested on Harlow as pathogen HK level 3, and that's where the immunes like Sam B stopped being tested, as the outbreak never happens again in the next decade in Los Angeles. Ruben enhanced it further, calling it HK1, which we refer to as pathogen HK level 4, and Sam B succumbs to this version. And lastly, the mutagen, which we refer to as HK1 level 2, or continue to use the name pathogen HK level 5, causes Noah to lose immunity. However, after the Slayer is exposed to this pathogen HK level 5 by defeating mutated Noah, Slayers also almost lose their immunity as portrayed by regaining consciousness while unconsciously eating the flesh of a dead body. This is similar to when Sam B was exposed to pathogen HK level 3 while fighting Harlow. He also almost lost control over his immunity back then. Back to Lola's perspective after the outbreak started, Lola finds Slayer as she discovers that their telepathic frequencies are the same. This can also explain how she got her companions Thurston and Cadenza. Maybe she meets them because they can communicate on the same frequencies as well. Lola follows the frequencies and discovers that the Slayers are planning to escape through the introductory plane evacuation of soaring Pacific 7-1 heavy flights. She sends 2 out of the 6 individuals chosen by Constantine from the HAUS facilities to connect the Slayers to the unfinished Ark.
I brought you here. 2 were sent to a very specific time and place, and there they found you.
Hold the fuck on.
fuck did this happen? It's not meant to be like this.
She choked me.
It was necessary to connect to your mind.
Additionally, she manipulates the minds of the Slayers through some shadow at the crash site.
Hey! Hello? The fuck?
After Slayers managing to get to Emma's mansion, Lola uses a magical envelope to control the minds of the Slayers and guide them to the house site. Eventually, the Slayers successfully save the unfinished Ark and establish a ground satellite for further reach known as SoLA, which is crucial for the huge mood speaker to work. As Lola gladly saw that the Slayers had managed to finish the house project, she wanted to show her appreciation to the Slayers by following them and then meeting them in the sewers.
Here you are. I've been looking for you.
What are... How? Do I know you?
Know me? More than you realize.
Okay.
However, she also found out that they would be helping Ruben instead. Slayers managed to meet Ruben first, and then after Slayer is going to the Santa Monica Pier, Lola confronted Ruben about their promise not to interfere with each other.
Don't be rude, Ruben.
You should rest.
Oh, I'm wide awake.
Sit down. Ruben and I were just reminiscing.
You know each other?
Konradt and I did some research together.
Ruben, it was a little more than that. I was his oracle, his Pythia. So, how have you been? You look different.
You tried to kill me.
Is that what I did?
Konradt?
Or did I do something else?
Lola, you promised you wouldn't interfere.
No, Ruben, we promised that we wouldn't interfere. You've already galloped across that Rubicon.
She was talking about the Slayer. She believed that she had found them first, and because Lola is now certain that Ruben doesn't know anything about the Slayers, and the fact that the Slayers themselves are looking for Ruben's help, she can't defend herself and is willing to leave. But now, she also had the information that Ruben managed to collect the Slayer sample within the laptop that the Slayers had just brought.
But I must just drop in on Tisha before I go.
You can't see her.
Oh, Ruben.
Yeah, well, no one gets to see her.
What?
She ain't here.
What do you mean?
Well, she went out looking for food with a little gang of hers. They're overdue.
I always told you, Ruben, the tighter the leash, the harder they pull.
Get out!
I'll see you down the line. Later, Jimmy.
Why'd you let her go?
Hey, she ain't my kid. If I was in
Jimmy,
charge...
Listen.
Yeah, fucking whatever!
This event leads to Ruben, who initially convinces Slayer to have some rest, suddenly commanding them to find Tisha. This makes sense because she is the crucial ingredient to create a neutralizer, especially since he has now tested the Slayer's blood. After the Slayers find Tisha, instead of immediately reporting to Ruben, both the Slayers and Tisha have a secret plan to investigate Ruben. Tisha suggests that the Slayers go ask the OSK's AI, Konstantin, who can answer any question similar to a smart home assistant. And this is the moment where the Slayers meet the mutated Noah and get exposed to the pathogen HK level 5. Being exposed to pathogen HK level 5, Slayers almost lost their immunity, as evidenced by their regaining consciousness while involuntarily consuming the flesh of a deceased body and attempting to consume Tisha as well. She followed the Slayers, who promised to inform her of everything they discovered in the OSK store. However, when the Slayers attempt to harm her, she fights back by severing their various arteries with a crossbow bolt and then thrusting it deep into their heart, delivering additional blows to ensure their demise. Fortunately, Lola, who also follows the Slayers, intervenes and rescues them, bringing them back to the realm of the living. Because of suspecting both Ruben and Lola, the Slayers engage in a battle against the mutated Noah and are subsequently defeated by Tisha. Lola saw your efforts, so she explains her motives and allows the Slayers to inquire about Ruben's motives as well.
Humans. The autophage. Newman. It's an immense life cycle. A survival mechanism spanning countless eons. And we are the Omega point.
Get out of my head, okay? I'm not a part of this, I'm not.
Well, you are in deep denial. And you've had my 2 cents, so go and ask Ruben his. But whatever conclusion you come to, remember,
when Slayers tried to go back to the Sterling Hotel, Ruben was nowhere to be found as he and Tisha flew with the chopper that the Slayers saw before entering the hotel. If you notice the helicopter, it was not from CDC, instead it was Eschaton's property.
Whose bird is this anyway?
Some end-of-the-world bunch called Eschaton. Thought they wanted to help save humanity, but all they really wanted was my blood.
What?
What? Every fucking time!
Because after the Slayers tested their blood, Ruben reported to Eschaton and called a chopper to help him transport to his own lab, escorted by his daughter Tisha, without knowing that she was also one major ingredient for the neutralizer. Ruben doesn't want to repeat Noah's failure, so he goes without the Slayer's physical body and uses his body instead. The result of Ruben's work is finally creating a neutralizer proven by Sambi, but it cost him his life. But after the Slayers regroup with Sambi, Tisha has not been found.
Is Tisha here?
Oh. Who?
Shit. I hoped she'd be here.
Oh, I haven't seen anyone. The doctor?
Paid the price. Oh, crap.
Goodbye. Again?
Wait!
It's what I deserve.
No. No one deserves this. I've got a one-shot cure. It was meant for me, but we've all got to change. You can too.
Not his head, you idiot!
Yeah. Muscle memory.
You see, I'll always come.
Segment 10, SoLA Outbreak. When the Slayers are busy looking for Tisha, Konstantin allures the Slayers into helping Cadenza by posting Grace's broadcast, which can trick the Slayers into going to the SoLA location near Beverly Hills with the motivation of saving the broadcaster. The Slayers were right. After following the broadcast and managing to enter the SoLA entrance, they found that the broadcast was coming from a barricaded house. Without further ado, they tried to get in and found someone alive but in a shocked and panicked condition. There is a recurring character background going on. We have another loner who prefers to live underground, avoiding any kinds of interaction with people.
Right. Nutcase. Grace, just like always. Go and don't come back!
Grace seems to be less friendly compared to Patton.
I gotcha. Yeah, man, no shit, huh?
Once we convinced herself that she wasn't crazy and genuinely listened to her story, we couldn't help but beg her to share it.
Well, I am gonna investigate.
The beat will take you too.
Oh, baby. I can move parts of my body to the beat like you wouldn't believe.
And the moment she did, we could see a mix of shock and relief in her aura. It's amazing how even a little bit of support can make such a difference in preserving her sanity. In a way, this indirectly reminds us of the importance of offering support, no matter how small, to someone who is going through unstable or challenging mental states. She proceeded to recount the heartbreaking scene she had seen, where approximately 30,000 individuals transformed into zombies all at once upon hearing the strange glass speaker's beat.
It happened at the main stage. Headline act on the final night. 30,000 people dancing. Suddenly there was this beat vibrating in my bones. Came from the speakers, but it was music. It was something more. People were screaming, holding their heads. They turned in seconds. They all turned. It was carnage.
Zombies in the crowd.
30,000 people don't get bitten all at once. It was the beat.
Oh, Jesus.
And the strange glass speakers. They have this energy coming out of them. I can still hear it.
Well, that is one hell of a story.
As previously explained during Cadenza's Walkout, we are aware of how this speaker has the power to induce such a phenomenon. So, here's the deal. Cadenza really wanted to make this huge speaker work, But she got booted from the trio forums, so she doesn't have access to the file anymore. Remember when Konradt said no one would ever get their hands on it?
You can't have that sound file. Nobody can.
Well, I think Konradt was smart to encrypt the recording file into 4 parts. There, the Slayers are tricked by Cadenza into collecting and gathering the 3 remaining parts, as she has only found one so far. If we take a look at the lineup of the 3 bands we got the rest of the pieces from, it includes Digital Meadow, The New Puppeteer, and finally, Lidded Spine. This also reveals the secret behind making this huge mood speaker work. Remember the band name's philosophy I mentioned in my previous video? Digital Meadow represents the Ark of Ascension, The New Puppeteer symbolizes the Autophage Hive Mind, and Lidded Spine stands for the BrinK implant. We have all these elements coming together already. If my theory is right, that's why we had to gather these 3 remaining pieces from the different bands and hand them to Cadenza. She'll work her magic and remix it.
Then why are you here?
You told me to come.
Don't think so.
Not this you. The 3 helpful yous, spread across the Discoverse. They sent me recordings of the beat.
Did we?
Look, this beat. It turns people, instantly. And it's still beating. So, do you have a plan to stop it or not?
Give me the recordings.
Oh, right. Here. Now how do we stop it?
We don't. I only had one part, but with yours I can piece it back together and complete the message.
On second thought, I'll be needing those back.
No. This beat speaks to me. To us. It's part of what we are becoming. I have to hear it all.
Spoiler, it sounds like people dying.
But not us. Don't you want to know what's inside you? Why you didn't turn like all the rest? This is the answer. You feel it too.
Could it turn people back? Reverse everything?
Only one way to find out. Combine the parts, understand the message. I'm gonna go get some help with this remix. I'll be in touch.
She then goes away to remix them. Sometime later, she communicates with the Slayers through natural Newman's telepathic frequencies, sending the remix file and ordering the Slayers to send it to Konstantin.
Hey, I need you to do something for me.
Cadenza? Haven't I helped you enough?
We've recombined the beat. I just need you to go to the OSK store on Ocean Avenue and talk to Konstantin. He has the file.
And you're too busy, huh?
I hit an obstacle, so I'm adapting. Do this and we can finally get our answers.
Fine, but you owe me.
She mentions something about her other work and asks the Slayers for a favor to send the file from the OSK store back on Ocean Avenue. whereas she has actually been banned from the satellite, so she can't do anything with the file to make the big speaker work. Konstantin's ulterior motives of letting Cadenza have the file are suspiciously visible here, as he let the Slayer send the file first before revealing what happened behind Cadenza's walkout.
Oh, that Egypt! Tell me you can unsend the file, Konstantin.
No. The transfer to Cadenza is complete.
Fuck! Did you do that on purpose? Where is she now?
Cadenza is located at SoLA, where you should be.
Yeah, thanks.
Cadenza wasted no time once she got the file. She immediately turned on the huge mood speaker, and the energy that came out of it grew stronger. Grace started feeling crazier as the voice became clearer and clearer. However, once the voices stabilized, she felt relief and realized that she was a new man who could actually communicate with these voices, not only passively hearing them.
I hear them. Oh. They hear me. They understand.
Has its quirks and charms, doesn't it?
You hear them too.
We can talk later.
The beat. We have to stop it.
She says, barely able to stand. You're taking a nap. I've got this. I'll find you when it's over.
Suddenly, she became incredibly calm, the complete opposite of her earlier behavior. She seemed to ignore Slayer's request to stay and wait for help to stop Cadenza. Instead, she kept actively communicating with the voices. She explained how she could communicate with Newman from different time periods, even from the future, she thought. Unfortunately, before she could ask for more clarification, the connection was lost as the Slayers managed to destroy the huge mood speaker.
I know we're Newman. The voices I heard were other Newman, from long ago. Maybe the future too, I'm not sure. They started to explain, but when you stopped the beat, the voices stopped too.
One major question: how can Grace effectively console Cadenza?
Hey, I'm with you. Remember who you are. We danced to our own song.
Consider this. When the beat consumed her, Cadenza gained a deep understanding of herself across time periods as well.
When the beat took me, it knew me completely. Everything I am, was, and will be. But I knew it too. It felt familiar.
Perhaps if Grace can attune herself to the beat, she can comprehend Cadenza as well. This could aid in healing Cadenza's psyche and helping her regain control. This ties to my theory about Konrad's expertise back in my Konrad's trio video. I mentioned that Konradt is a healer because Tisha attacked us with a crossbow bolt, aiming for our rear's arteries and then plunging it deep into our hearts. She even added kicks to ensure our demise. It's mind-boggling how anyone could survive such a brutal assault. However, to our surprise, we woke up to find Konradt removing the crossbow bolt from our chest and bringing us back to the land of the living. So, I guess Konradt possessed some sort of healing abilities. But now with Grace in the picture, I'll also consider her a healer. The interesting thing is that while Konradt specialized in physical healing, Grace focuses on psychological healing. They seem to be around the same age too, which adds another layer to their classification. Segment 11: Flash Memories Mission Analysis. Back to the SoLA ending, everything is already clear except for this one thing: the Dirge. Yes, the infamous, hardest yet unfair boss fight in all of the Dead Island franchise, accompanied by a critical crash when loading the ending cutscene, only to make you rematch the unfairness. What are these things? How does it even make sense? Well, remember what Reed found about the Autophage clock? The end of the Autophage clock will force you to become either a Newman or a zombie. Meanwhile, when the zombies are deteriorating, instead of being destroyed, they can regroup and form into one being. In this case, it's called the Clother, also known as the Dirge. If you look back at this challenging side mission in SoLA, It can easily explain what this entity is composed of, what forms it, and ultimately what its purposes are. If we notice each of their names, the empty, the weak, the broken, the urge, and the echoes of despair. Each have their own dialogue, or rather personality, but despite the differences, if we wrote it as a monologue, they complement each other, reminding that this is one being. Segment 11.1 How it forms.
My camera. I promised I'd never lose it. Didn't I, Grandpa? I promised.
My camera. Yes! Yes! My camera! Mine! Mine! Mine!
Mine!
Ah! I feel them squirming! Wriggling inside me!
It's you again.
A part of me. It's missing. Parts of us. Please find them.
Is anyone out there?
We feel closeness. Someone near what is lost. Help!
This hive mind is made up of collective consciousness. In the case mentioned above, it's about something they cherish while still alive, and they are still too attached to it.
My camera. I promised I'd never lose it. Didn't I, Grandpa? I promised.
They can be resurrected and look out for it, even though they only exist as flashes and not even a body that can use these cherished items anymore. However, part of them confirms that they can feel the item once their flesh touches it.
Ah! I feel them squirming! Wriggling inside me!
If we notice the patterns, the empty usually starts the idea and remembrance.
My camera. I promised I'd never lose it. Didn't I, Grandpa? I promised.
While the weak tends to take action about the idea.
My camera. Yes! Yes! My camera! Mine! Mine! Mine!
The broken seems to be uncontrollable about the idea, while the urge is dominant in trying to correct the idea.
Ah! I feel them squirming! Wriggling inside me!
Lastly, the echoes of despair essentially realize that they are unable to get to the idea and desperately seek help from others.
A part of me. It's missing. Parts of us. Please find them.
Is anyone out there?
We feel closeness. Someone near what is lost. Help!
Segment 11.2 What it leads to.
No. What monster did this to you? Tell me. I will find them. For you. If only I could feel you one last time.
To taste you. Become one with you. Together. Forever.
Forever.
Well, that was intense. What's the play here? How do I help you?
My heart. I can feel it beating.
In the heart of the festival. We all feel it. And this emptiness inside us. It hurts.
The center of my being. The last piece of me left whole. Lost. Help us feel whole again. Save it.
Save us.
In that monologue above, we notice a new pattern that one of the personalities seems to be more dominant and can affect their entire personality, and even make them agree to take action. Let's hear that once again.
No. What monster did this to you? Tell me. I will find them.
The Broken is always uncontrollable about the idea, but apparently the one who found the idea this time. The urge is trying to manipulate what previously sounds sweet and innocent into something cruel and evil while still always recorrecting the idea.
For you. If only I could feel you one last time.
To taste you, become one with you. Together, forever.
While they are all trying to find a way to execute this idea, in this case, revenge for Tara, they must first form into an actual being. So even the echoes of despair are trying to find a way to do it, and the MT, as always, found the idea of doing so.
My heart. I can feel it beating.
In the heart of the festival. We all feel it. And this emptiness beside us. It hurts.
The weak, as always, can't do anything and express agony.
The center of my being. The last piece of me left whole. Lost. Help us feel whole again. Save it.
Save us.
This leads us to the next segment about one of their early purposes. They tend to regroup for more strength. Segment 11.3, What It Proposes.
I can still hear it. The beat. The beat connects us. Connects us to it. It. The greater urge. Bigger than us. Bigger than all things. Individually, we are nothing to it. But together, we are so much. We want so much. To spread. To consume. To be everywhere. Everything.
It is clear that it forms because of the beat. If we go back to my previous video on Rites and Konradt collaboration, I mentioned something about the Autophage hybrid Numens such as Lola having certain frequencies that facilitate telepathic communication among fellow Numens such as Slayers, Cadenza, and Turson through the Autophage Hive Mind. This should now make sense that not only the Numens but also the non-Numens have their own certain frequencies. I'll rephrase it again. It was not known before that the non-Numen also have their own frequencies of the Hive Mind, as the Slayers couldn't communicate with the non-Numens before, as they had already become zombies and couldn't communicate properly. But now, with the help of the beat, they can. So that explains the existence of the frequencies for non-Numens too. After all, these non-Numens flashes are destroyed zombies. It makes more sense. But it's starting to be freaky now, as we also discover that the Urge personality seems to be demonic and evil. However, it was so strong, and as we get to the late game of SoLA, we've demonstrated that this Urge is the one who can dominate these flashes, and they are evil as hell. Is this the main purpose of the living Hive Mind? To be an ultimate evil being against the good-hearted Numen? Then it all boils down to the good and evil endless war in all aspects. And this is also a note to the creative director of this Dead Island 2 project by Dambuster, James Worrall. He mentioned that humans are, yes, they're crazy and all, and often argue or fight and even war, but at the end of the day, we're the good guys, and we're fighting the bad ones, which in this case, the Dirge, the evil inside humans.
We focus on the zombies. It's about you versus the monster and what that struggle means, both narratively and from a gameplay point of view. You know, I find that a lot of zombie IPs out there, they just use the zombie apocalypse as an excuse for human drama, you know, and there's also been an awful lot of this dirge that humanity's awful and we deserve everything we get kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. In our game, humans are, yes, flawed, yes, a bit batshit crazy or full of hubris or narcissistic or whatever, but we're the good guys, right? And you know, we mourn the loss of civilization and LA, and you know, we're the good guys fighting the bad guys, and the whole point is that you're learning what that means and what the autophage, the zombie virus, is, and ultimately how to beat it.
God, where was that currywurst stall again? Pour ramen or churros? I gotta eat like now.
What have you done?
What have I done? I've never been this hungry before.
It is time to consume. Bring us your flesh. Feed us.
It demands to be nourished. It demands to be fed. We are it, and it is us. Become one with us. Become whole with us.
I feel myself everywhere. Innards decorating the ground. Skin, bone, and entrails mashed to a soup as hundreds turn and hundreds fled. The main stage exits splattered with departing flesh.
There we were absorbed, swallowed unwhole. Chunks left to rot in the wilting grass.
There! We became this abomination! Because of it! Because of you!
You created us. Your purpose is served. Find us. Feed us.
And us.
In philosophical standpoints, if humans feed their evil thoughts and agendas, they can become dangerous entities that lead to losing their humanity. It's that simple, apparently. That concludes these essays on the entire Lord of Dead Island franchise by me. What are your thoughts about it all? Feel free to leave anything good in the comment section. I am Fury Russ. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you down the line.